Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dungeons and Dragons. This is our Rooms and Reptiles group. I am Raw Zim, and welcome. Give me just one moment. There we go. Now they can hear you.
Oh, they couldn't hear me before?
No, I hadn't enabled that just yet. Now they can.
All right, I quit. I'll be in my trailer.
You don't have a trailer. I don't have a trailer.
I'll be in a cardboard box that some of the set lights were in.
We have set lights?
He does.
I will put the bag that the dice came in over my left pinky finger.
Anyways, if you would be so kind as to do the announcement.
Yes. As written by Rok-Rok. Pissed that all the teeth that Rok-Rok got were lacking from the large flying lizard thing, Rok-Rok and Sully went into the cart to break a mirror to let off some steam. But weird things happened. Rok-Rok made some letters that kind of looked like mirror. It had the M, there was an R. But when he came back, it was not a mirror at all. It was a murder. And so we all have to fix this situation, although it makes my head hurt sometimes. And Cobalt is gorging himself on pizza in the other room. But I got to tackle someone, so that was fun. Now, we continue that on Rooms and Reptiles. We need to get a title. Song.
You only had like half of what he actually posted.
It was correct.
I mean,
I
yeah.
was Rok-Rok and Nova. You did him justice.
I don't know, that's why I always read it verbatim, because I felt like that was the point.
Hey, I'm okay with the DM doing that.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I'll let him do it now because I got fucking roasted last time. Even the chat wanted to fire me.
Fucking brutal. Okay.
Talking to you, N, if you're here.
Yeah, he's in there.
Currently, and everyone, I would like you to actually get in Fantasy Grounds. Come on now.
I'm
missing
in.
Ray. Or Sully.
Oh, let me see. That's what it was.
Fair
It was
enough.
taking forever to load in, but now it's finally. I just needed to pick my character.
Why
Character selection.
Because I had for some reason that you were played by Ray for some reason. I don't know. Anyways,
Everybody is Sully.
Sully, Rakuu, and Rok-Rok, you are currently inside the lounge.
Sully, and Sully are all in the lounge, and Sully and Sully are at the table. And interrogating
Cobalt.
Sully, while Sully, and Sully are waiting in the other room.
Need to calm down.
Yep, that's...
Cobalt and Eric's are currently in the foyer. Cobalt having recently gorged himself on pizza and is barely managing to stay out of a coma from such pizza. Eric's, I believe you ate a good amount of pizza as well, but you did not eat nearly as much as Cobalt.
I ate it to enjoy it, not to just stuff my face.
If that's what.
Do both those things.
So, what are you all doing now? As you start to hand out the various pieces of bread, not really toast.
The loaf of truth, then.
Loaf of truth, yes. I'll call it that.
The loaf of less lying, then.
There, I was gonna go for something like that. But you
The
beat me
loaf
to
of
it.
less lying.
Loaf of lesser lying?
That's like a loaf that allows you to tell small lies.
I don't like that.
Mass Sully Moore.
Do not.
Wasn't that brought up before?
I don't know, but this is the first time I've actually seen it.
I'm pretty sure I've heard someone say that before.
All right.
Should I rename the bread from Toast of Truth to Loaf of Less Lying?
Well, it's already sliced up and is currently being snacked on by the sorry.
The General.
The biscuits of bitter truth.
General.
Ooh, that's
Oh,
pretty good too.
I like that
Biscuits
one.
of Bitter Truth. Alright.
If you need me to keep going, I'm here all night.
We'll move on. The various occupants of the room start to like snack on the bread, taking their various drinks afterwards. Doesn't seem to have kicked in just yet.
Ah, so everyone's had the Biscuits of Better Truth then.
They've at least had like maybe a half and then perhaps set it down afterwards.
Well, it'll have some effect once it sets in.
Here's hoping.
Nothing seems to be happening at all with them right now. They seem to be sitting around. Every so often, one of them will give you a nervous glance. And they seem to be giving you all nervous glances with about equal. They all seem to be giving you nervous glances every once in a while. So I
Well,
couldn't think of the word.
I don't remember where I left off when I was interrogating General Cook. No, actually. I was the one.
He
Buttered him up.
Yeah, I buttered him up, and the last thing he said was,
Sword wouldn't have been the
he
one
was
to
saying that he
use.
wouldn't have used that as the weapon because I was being deceptive and said that I didn't think it was him and I was asking for his help.
Right. So, ask more or move on to another?
I'm not gonna decide that for you.
Rok-Rok's just grinning with his hands behind his back and his tail wagging.
I'm just looking
And
at
I did my
Rakuu.
part. You're the detective.
Well, I'm asking for team input. Rakuu, think we should press a little more or move on to someone else? There's still people we haven't even talked to yet.
Yeah, we can. Let's talk to everyone
Yeah.
before the stuff kicks in
Shall we?
and see if there's any discrepancies.
Right. Shall we talk to Madame Ariel or Monsieur Petit? The rich servant.
Monsieur Petit should be fine.
Yes, we don't know anything about him, actually. He's currently our enigma. Let's talk to Monsieur Petit, the rich servant.
Alright. He's currently reading a book at the moment. Don't really know what it's about.
Good day, Monsieur Petit.
He looks
Or would you
over.
prefer another name?
Oh no, that is good. What do you want?
Nothing, we're just gathering information. The more aligning testimonies we gather, the stronger the evidence we'll have once we find contradictions.
I suppose I'll comply for the time being.
Indeed. So, what can you tell me about the night prior to the murder?
Prior to the murder?
Yes.
Don't you mean this night?
Well, if I must be specific, the time before the murder then.
I'll go ahead and assume that you mean the time that I've spent here, and not the
Yes.
time before I arrived.
Yes. Such as the gathering and the dinner and the order in which the people left the table.
I found the dinner to be quite agreeable, though the soup was somewhat disappointing.
Mm,
And if
mm,
if I were to be in charge, I would have paired it with a different wine. The white they had was just didn't fit well. And you can
mm,
see that he's just absolutely dripping with this it's like aristocratic attitude.
I see.
Like he does not care that he's here, it seems.
He's very important for a servant.
Of course. I oversee many households. But
Would you see yourself as the head servant, even?
for multiple households, yes.
Interesting.
This one not being one of my own.
I see.
Though the master of the household and the deceased are close friends of mine. And as to the chronology of the night, Miss Ariel was the first to leave. She seemed rather tired and somewhat annoyed by Mr. Blonde's continued. Well, he made some unfortunate statements.
Did he have anything to drink, perhaps?
He did, yes. All of us were, to some degree, out of sorts.
I see.
In a pleasurable sense, of course.
That makes sense. This was a festive, well, a nice gathering at least.
Mr. Blonde left shortly afterwards. He was, in a more polite term, plastered. Of course, I left shortly afterwards as... And you see him pause for a moment. He says, I saw him to his room, and then I went to bed shortly afterwards.
I see.
I do try to remain from drinking in times like this, though I did have one or two. Nothing that would have impaired my judgment.
Can I do an insight check on that?
Sure. What part in specific?
The one where he paused.
As if trying to catch himself from saying something?
Yeah.
Exactly what you think, Rok-Rok. There's this faint idea like, you sounded like he was about to say something there.
I want to glare at him. Can I do an intimidation check?
Sure. As you glare at him very angrily.
Oh,
He just barely beats you. He sees you kind of glowering at him, and he almost like rolls his eyes and focuses back on Sully, who's asking the questions.
Right. Yes, that lines up so far with what I've heard.
Is there
Now-
anything else that you need to know?
Oh, some things I'm curious about. Now, when you came to the cry of alarm, were you... How many others were there when you arrived?
I believe it was just the large man who was there. No, I believe Miss Ariel was there as well. I
Miss
arrived
Ariel?
shortly afterwards.
And who arrived afterwards?
I believe Master Isaac arrived directly after I have. I do make an effort to be prepared for action should any requests come my way. A bit of habit, as my work does not end once I go to sleep. Sometimes some events may occur during the night in which I am called to action. This, of course, being one of them.
When did Miss Kalan arrive?
I believe she... Oh, did I say Madame Ariella?
Yes.
Yes, I meant Miss Kalan. She was there with General Cole to begin with.
All right.
You notice there's a slight bit of reverence when saying Miss Kalan's name in his voice.
Interesting. Can you tell me more about Miss Kalan?
Yeah, oh, never mind. He kind of
No?
takes a breath and collects himself and says, a business associate at one time. I did some work for her estate some years ago. Of
Well.
course, it's merely a business relationship.
Hmm.
Can't have any sort of romantic intentions getting in the way of, well, business.
Well, surely you can tell me more about her reputable characteristics so that we might not make any initial and unscrupulous assumptions of her.
I suppose that's fair enough. I'm trying to open the party sheet. There it is. How did Eric's get such good perception? All
Very
of you have
good
really...
perception.
Yeah.
Except Cobalt.
Yes. Rakuu and Rok-Rok. You would both notice that he's definitely trying to not mince his words. He's taking very good care in saying exactly what he intends to. I would say that Miss Kalan is very headstrong. And retains grace in whatever she does. Is that what you were looking for, or if I said the wrong thing, please do elaborate.
No, that is also correct with what we know. She is a very graceful and careful woman.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been business partners? Do you oversee any of her households?
Yes, in fact. Well, not at the current time, but at a time in the past we were much more intimate business partners than now.
Hmm.
Currently, I do not oversee anything which occurs in her estate. Sorry, I have a cough.
And the same of Mr. Blonde, then? The late Mr. Blonde?
Yes. Although I did oversee operations at his house. I currently do. Apologize. His household is a few miles from here. And as you know, he was invited to perhaps socialize and celebrate by Master Isaac of this household.
I see.
Is there anything else, Detective?
As a matter of fact, there is. You see, I might need you to perhaps keep this to yourself, and I might need to dig into your more personal knowledge, because... And Sully will lead in closer.
Gives you a...
Unfortunately, I came upon a bit of troubling evidence. and I have some suspicions about it. The murder weapon has Madame Kalan's perfume upon it.
Everybody in the room, you see for a brief moment, a very troubled look come over this man's face before he just sort of shuts it down. Oh, that's very unfortunate.
Indeed. There was also a very strong perfume upon the corset in her room. The same one. Now, I'm not going to jump into any assumptions, because it is possible that this evidence had been planted.
Pray
And
tell, what are you getting to?
Well, I'm asking if you have any suspicions about those around you who might desire this.
I don't believe I can particularly point the finger to anyone in particular.
That's unfortunate. Well, as the one who seems most believing in her character, perhaps you would be the one to note if anything, if there was a chance this might be forged.
I've known her to do somewhat unscrupulous things in the past, but I do believe, in my personal dealings with her, that she has overgrown that, in a sense. I'm sorry, outgrown. Overgrown, that wouldn't make sense in that context.
Right. Let's see.
You see him sort of brush down his jacket, like grabbing a small hair that was on it and just sort of flicking it away.
Like he's trying to not think about it anymore?
Give me an insight check.
Alright. Insight.
Can I give one too, since I'm mostly just focused on looking at them and their responses while he's talking?
Suppose so,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, the same.
Yeah, I kind of figure like you're right there with me for the most part.
Not great.
No. Having
All of these
flashbacks.
guys,
There was a fly buzzing around. We're all trying to swat at it.
you're not quite sure if this is him trying to stop thinking about the current situation or what he just said. It might be something else. It's looked kind of like maybe a reflex.
Hmm. I need to work on my detectiveness.
Hmm.
Oh well.
Out of the corner of your eye, you see Master Isaac straighten some books on the shelf, sort of tightening up the end against one of the paperweights that kind of hold the books upright.
Alright. They're keeping themselves occupied. I suppose I don't have many other questions at the moment. Can you think of any particularly noteworthy events that transpired since the murder took place?
He like prepares his statement. I don't believe so, no. There was a brief amount of confusion and, to be quite honest, some anger after the murder was uncovered, but nothing of real noteworthiness has happened since when we called for the authorities.
I see. One more question. When you all went to look at the body, none of you touched it or anything of the sort?
Aside from General Cole, from what I understand, attempting to give medical aid, which of course amounted to no more than checking his pulse. None of us have, in fact, touched the body.
Alright. Who was the last to leave the room?
That would be General Cole again.
Alright.
Are you speaking of last night or after the murder?
After the murder.
General Cole was the only one inside the room.
Well then. So... As in, he was the only one to enter the room?
Yes,
So you all stood from the doorway then?
of course. He'd instructed us that it is a crime scene and thus we should not enter.
That is reasonable.
Is there anything else?
No, I suppose that'll be all.
Very well. As you see him kind of straighten his suit jacket, kind of tighten his tie a bit. Or his bow tie.
Alright, last one to talk to, Madame Ariella.
I'm out in the hall now.
Alright. Are you doing anything special in there?
I wrote it down there. I said I went out to the hall and I idly talked to the others, seeing if the bread of bitter truths is having any effect on them. Just kind of listening to their responses.
It seems that... Actually, could you give me an insight check?
Can I do an investigation?
Yes.
Ooh.
Very, very slowly. It starts with like slow or very small signs, such as what you witnessed before with Monsieur Petit, sort of adjusting his jacket and sort of making himself clean. Someone will wipe off a bit of condensation from where a drink was placed on the table.
Oh, they're fixing the books.
Yes.
Yeah, this is kind of my forte. Because
Drugs?
I don't want to no, like in investigating in this way. Because if I was doing all the talking, I would be doing like bad cop, going. So you want me to call? Would you rather call you Mr. Pate or Mr. Murderer?
Cobalt, what are you doing?
I mean, we could do a bad cop, good cop thing.
And Rok-Rok up.
Let's see. I guess I'm laying on my back trying to not to vomit.
Alright. Give me a constitution check.
Another constitution check. I thought I'd succeeded already.
You ate a
That is
lot of
a lot
pizza,
lower
sir.
DC. Yeah. You kind of have a kind of a large, kind of wet hiccup, but you manage to keep all the pizza down.
Awesome.
You just kind of roll on the floor slightly.
Cobalt is round now.
That's about right. Anyways, Sully, you are going to speak
with
to Madame Ariella.
yes, the portly lady
All right.
with Rok-Rok still glaring.
Oh, I'm extra
You still-
smiling at the round woman.
Oh, boy.
You notice that she averts her eyes from looking at you as you kind of lead her into the room.
I bet she does.
She sits down and she actually, there's a handkerchief kind of sitting on one of the tables and she folds it up very neatly.
Hmm. We should call this the bread of order. We should call this the bread. Anyway, Madam Ariel, good
Yes.
to properly speak with you.
Yes. What is it you want? Go ahead and ask your questions now.
Very well then, I shall begin. How were you invited into the household along with everyone else? I'm led to believe there was a list of all the guests in with the note, but it was a
Indeed,
surprise
there
that we got
was.
the note.
Yes. I'd received the letter about a week ago. And due to the short notice, I did have to cancel a few appointments, but no matter. I believe that this meeting would have been of great importance to all of us.
Yes, very likely. Now, the party itself. How were the party itself prior to the murder? I imagine there was quite the banquet.
It was a rather modest arrangement. It was more of a house party than a proper party. A dinner with friends, more like.
True, true. Who was the first to leave the table?
It was Miss Kalan. She was feeling rather miffed, I could tell. I believe Mr. Blonde had angered her somewhat. And she sort of pulls on her collar and arranges it to be more aligned.
Dova, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Mr. Petit said that Miss Ariel was the first to leave.
I did correct that.
Oh,
I
right.
misspoke when I said Ariel was first.
Ah, I see. Wait, no. I thought you corrected it when you said that Ariel was the first to arrive on the murder scene.
To leave the room after the dinner party, Mr. or Monsieur Petit had said that Miss Kalan had exited first, yes. And that Miss Ariel was at the murder scene. Correction, Miss Kalan was at the murder scene first, directly after General Cole.
All right. And at the dinner party, Kalan also left first?
Yes. I misspoke earlier, I apologize about that.
Oh, okay. And who left second then?
Second, of course, was Mr. Blonde, as he seemed to be somewhat tipsy. Of course, when talking about one's own death and inheritance, I suppose it is good to lose grip on reality somewhat.
He was likely just enjoying himself.
Of course, I would have done the same. Afterwards, Mr. Petite, he left. Although in a fairly clear mind, I could tell. I left shortly afterwards, and General Cole, being the gentleman he is, accompanied me to my room. What else would you like to know, darling?
Well, afterwards, during, well, after the murder had been discovered, how many had gathered by the time you arrived?
By the time I arrived, give me one moment. I arrived in time to see Mr. Petit leave his room.
So, around. So you'd say you're about the third or fourth then?
Yes, I would say. Mr.
Alright
Isaac
then.
was slow to wake and thus arrived last.
Of course. Hmm.
Please do continue,
Right.
as I would rather not talk to your other companion, as I know what happens afterwards. And she
He's
glares
yes,
at Rok-Rok.
I lick my lips.
he's just a touch excitable. Now, how were the relationships between the guests around? Or how would you say the relationship between these other fine folk were?
Hmm.
Cole is a reputable man, as is Master Isaac. Petit, quite the astute servant. You, a venerable businesswoman. And then there's Kalan.
I believe we all had a cordial relationship with him. Some, which she tries to remember. Yes, I believe we all did have very professional relationships with each other.
Hmm. Did you know much about each other's past dealings?
Somewhat. I do know that Mr. Blonde dealt in he dealt with businesses that directly opposed mine, which I suppose I would dislike about him, but not to the point where I would try to take him out like this.
No, it's a messy ordeal.
Indeed. As evidenced by all this trouble we're going through right now.
Yes, indeed, quite the trouble. Do you know much about Miss Kalan specifically?
I cannot say I do. Though from what I can gather, she is quite unreserved in her business. She's not a businesswoman like me, but I have heard that she assists in her husband's dealings.
So you wouldn't know about what perfumes she's happened to use?
I assume whatever's in fashion, time being. I myself am wearing a nice, lovely piece.
I suppose that's reasonable. I'm not one for perfumes myself, but that does seem to be the answer I hear from most.
If I am to be quite honest, I have heard rumblings that her marriage is not going very smoothly.
Do tell.
That's all I really know. It certainly could be going better, but I'm not. I'm not in the know with her exact status.
Of course.
Can I do an insight check on that?
Go ahead. Wow. She seems to be telling the truth.
Hmm.
But there is something more to it. She definitely does know something more about this.
I want to roll an intimidate check, but intimidating just by taking a slight step forward.
Go ahead.
And while he does that, can I remember what General Cole said about the order of the people that left last time? Because apparently I didn't write that down.
It's about right with what you have written down.
All right. Colin, blonde, petite.
Yes.
Isaac apparently said Ariel, blonde, petite.
Indeed he did.
Interesting. All right, Rok-Rok intimidated.
She seems to take it in stride. Doesn't really
Rok-Rok.
seem to react the same way as she did earlier. After she was tackled, of course.
Right.
Oh boy, did I tackle her.
After you called her bluff.
Hmm.
Rok-Rok should be the bad cop. You should march over and say, "Tell me what you know."
Well, I could just shoot an Eldritch Blast at her face.
You're gonna get more psychic damage.
Meh!
Oh boy.
Psychic damage only works if you have a brain. He does not have much of a brain.
He's got Sora.
Yeah, but that's her brain, not his brain.
Oh boy. It's like a brain he can hire.
He lacks in many aspects. Can I do a perception check on the room?
What
are you looking for?
On the room.
Just to see if the mannerisms between the different people have changed while she's speaking.
Go ahead. They're like nervously fidgeting around a little bit, but other than that, not really much.
Hey, Solly, who do you have left to talk to, or is that the last one?
Now I've talked to all of them.
Okay.
I'm probably gonna go back and talk to Isaac again because apparently his account on who left the table isn't entirely correct. But that's a minor point, but it's still a point.
Okay.
Cobalt.
Also, Miss Kalan herself claims to have been the second to leave the table.
Cobalt, as you're
Interesting.
sort of like wallowing under one of the tables in the foyer, you overhear some faint mumblings from two of the suspects, as it were. It's between Monsieur Petit and Miss Ariella as they sort of walk past each other. And what you hear is Monsieur Petit asking her, "What did you tell them?" Madame Ariella responds, "Exactly what was agreed upon." She walks past, finds a spot to sit, resuming where she left off in her glass of wine.
Did I hear that at all too, since I was out talking with them?
She would be on the far side of the room from you, or not on the far side, but she would be a good distance away. It seems that she didn't notice that Cobalt was sort of on the ground.
Oh, okay.
Cobalt, if you're trying to say something, we cannot hear you.
Oh my god, I've been talking this entire time.
You know,
Okay.
people react when you talk.
I mean, I'm a kobold. I get ignored sometimes. It's okay. Not a big deal.
Not that much, come on.
Anyway, I'm going to use message to silently tell Sully and Rakuu what I heard.
Alright.
And, like, they can't hear me speaking at all.
Alright. Sully and Rakuu, you get this talking in the back of your mind. Basically recounting word by word, but in Cobalt's voice, what just transpired.
Alright, and who were talking to each other?
Ariella and Petite.
Yes.
I tell them that, yeah. Like, I'm gonna say this is a conversation between Petite and Ariella, and then I'm gonna mimic their voices so that, or do my best to mimic their voices, so they know who's talking.
It's a decent imitation. But you get the message. You know exactly what happened, who said what.
Alright, I want to investigate their rooms, and I want to check the swords on the mount to see if there's any nicks in them, and for any vials of the perfume.
Give me an investigation check. We'll go 3, 1 for each room.
Damn. Okay.
This is for Miss Kalan's room. You do in fact find
Wait, 3
what you
for
think-
what?
1 for each room. So we'll go down the list. We'll figure that
Oh,
out.
I was checking Ariella's and Petites, the two that were talking. Yeah.
Gotcha. Go ahead and roll one more time. This is for Madame Ariella's room. Inside, you find that everything is very neat. The bed was made. It seems almost as if the servants have been through here and prepared it for the next morning, perhaps. But not to an extent that maybe a servant would do it. Going into Mr. Petit's room.
Oh wait, why'd I roll acrobatics?
Why did you roll acrobatics?
I don't know. Do you want me to re-roll that?
We'll go with your previous dice roll, but add the new modifier.
Why the hell? How
That's
did
a
that
perfect number,
happen?
right?
I'm so confused.
Oh.
That doesn't even make any sense of how. Okay.
So 15 plus 8 is 23.
It's D&D. I
Oh,
have
yeah.
it muted.
Villages at General Grant.
The story goes deeper.
Are you giving someone else from this?
Oh,
Question, can I get a reminder from the DM about
I want pasta.
all the places the perfume's scent was found? I believe it
was
was
found-
on Petite's hands, was it?
Yes.
Is it
and
one
on-
A or one R?
Not though.
Cobalt, your mic is open.
Kalan's corset, the murder weapon.
Yes.
God dang it.
spider weapon, as well as Petite's hands. And Miss Kalan as well, who was just totally soaked in it.
But we don't know if it's her perfume. Is it?
As far as you know, it seems to be.
And you said Ariella's room was the one that was cleaned very well?
Yes. It seems to be how you would leave a room after leaving in the morning. The bed is made to somewhat of a degree. There's no clothes on the floor. A tidy room. Inside Monsieur Petite's room, you actually see something in a waste bin. As any good detective, you dig through it and you see a small strip of fabric tainted in blood.
Could I, or does, I guess to the best of my memory, because I don't know what the hell happened to it after Rok-Rok had his way with the body, does it match the victim?
What sort of ways would you be able to tell, do you think? In your character's experience, do you have any ways of telling?
Because I had seen, I had seen the body, and I remember I checked the wounds. Yeah, because we went over this last time, and I checked the wounds, and so I want to see if this piece of fabric matches whatever clothing or tunic or wherever it was that was on the body in that area. Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be any sort of fabric that was ripped up from the body. It seems to be just a spare square.
Spare
Okay.
square.
Perhaps from a larger sheet from some other room, as you can't find anything inside either this room. Actually, no. Inside Mr. Blonde's room. Can you give me a perception check?
Uh-huh. Make
Or,
sure it's perception.
investigate. Investigate.
Okay, yeah. Alright, investigation, here we go. Roll for religion. It's
Blood
terrible.
god.
It for sure seems to be maybe part of a bed sheet, but you can't find any bed sheet in the house that's had a piece of it taken out of. It seems to be just a spare scrap of cloth.
Okay.
But it's definitely not from the body.
I need my expertise feat already. Because anything under 10 is a 10 on a skill check.
I don't think you'll get much under 10 using your proficiencies.
No, the dice
no.
roll.
It's the roll.
Ah.
So,
okay,
like,
the roll.
10 plus modifier is his new minimum for his expertise skills.
Oh.
Because I'm not doing great here.
Yeah. It's kind of biting.
What's everybody in the foyer doing? And by that, I mean really just Cobalt.
I'm gonna keep my spot hidden and listen in if they start saying anything else. And, like, in case I get spotted, I'm still gonna be laying on the ground as if I'm super. But even though I'm feeling a little better, maybe.
Okay.
I wanna...
You do so, listening for any sort of conversations like the one you witnessed earlier.
I want to cast message and tell Cobalt about this blood-soaked piece of fabric that I found in Petite's room.
Okay.
And just say that he can maybe check for, like, facial expressions or something if he brings it up.
Okay. I'm gonna message back and tell him I will, and thanks for keeping me in.
I'm gonna message back, yee boy.
Cole's gonna say, hey.
Okay, I'm done.
Good.
Are you really?
Message back, click.
Stop memeing through magic. Stop.
Okay,
Meme chick.
No.
let's ignore. Let's try not to meme anymore. All right.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I wasn't
No,
trying
no
to.
no in character memes. How's that?
No.
Dova, this is fine.
We'll continue.
I felt that one in my lung. I felt it.
But yes, you do receive the message.
There's several messages.
Hey, Lamau.
No. Moving on, there's something I'd like to do.
Go ahead.
I'd like to go to Miss Kalan's room and look for a bottle of perfume.
All right. You find it almost right away. It's like sitting on the drawer, or sitting on the dresser. It's a small crystal bottle with a spray top. Very fancy.
How full is it?
About 3/4, maybe a half.
Alright, I'll take it with me and go back down to Miss Kalan.
All right. You can see she rolls her eyes heavily as you arrive. So I see you're stooping down to sifting through my things, as one
sifting
would
through.
expect.
We're sifting through everyone's things. However,
Hmm.
there are some matters that should probably be brought to your attention.
Yes, let's get this over with. What do you need to know?
You're a woman who takes very good care of her belongings, surely.
Yes, it is. That is correct.
This bottle of perfume. Was this a new, recent purchase? I imagine you don't need very much to have a very strong sense. Just perhaps a few sprays.
I've owned it for some time.
I see. Would you say this level of fullness is correct?
Yes, I would say. A few spritzes every morning. And that's it.
Makes sense. All right. And it would be normal for your corset to have the same scent as well, very strongly.
She looks around almost for a very brief moment. There's a hint of bashfulness, but she just kind of brushes it aside and says, "Well, it's something that I wear nearly every day. So yes, it would soak up some of that perfume."
That's fine. And he'll lean in closely and say, "Now, I'd like you to be calm and tell me what you know about Mr. Petit."
Everybody give me, inside that room, give me a perception check. Actually, no, insight.
Am I inside that room?
I don't believe, no, you're under the table.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to tell exactly what we're speaking of.
I refuse this roll.
You can lucky it.
I will. Come.
Oh
Are
my.
you my...
You stay with that one?
Do I have much choice?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. Boy, I'm gonna leave if this is the same.
Hey, it's better.
Yeah, it's acceptable.
Yeah, everyone would notice this. But she noticeably sort of fidgets for a brief moment, uncomfortable. He's a business associate, nothing more than that.
He told me
It
differently.
seems to all of you that she might be lying.
Interesting. Mr. Petit told me differently.
And What did he say?
That you were once much more intimate. But that was in the past.
Yes, in the past, it's going to stay for the time being.
In fact, he had something of a look of reverence upon him when he spoke of you.
Yes, I suppose he would. Though it's something we have broken off.
Hmm.
Can you give me another insight check?
Yes, I can try.
Me too.
She does it with disadvantage. Oh man.
Oof. You know, I seem to be rolling in pairs somehow.
Yeah.
It's not a glitch.
Yeah, she's definitely lying through her teeth.
Are you certain you've broken this off? After all, Madame Ariel also told me that you seem to be having some troubles with your marriage. Perhaps you were seeking outside counsel.
Is this the time to be discussing this?
As a matter of fact, it might be because I need to establish some relationships.
You can see she looks around, making sure that she's not being watched by any of the other occupants of the room. If you insist, then yes. We are at it again. But I don't think it has anything to do with this. And she says it quietly, barely above the room's ambient volume.
Alright, just update my notes. Now, I'd like you to perhaps remain a little calm, but this isn't the most startling news I have for you.
Go ahead.
Now, your perfume was discovered upon the hilt of the murder weapon. And
She
it
almost
was,
like snaps at you. And what of it?
and
Perfume is everywhere in this house.
it was also discovered on Monsieur Petit's hands.
You did listen to what I said before.
Yes.
And she quiets down and almost whispering. Of course it's going to be on his hands. Oh, and a reminder, there was one other place that you smelt that perfume. It was inside the pantry.
Pantry.
In sort of a back corner.
We should investigate there.
I will do that as I remember this and the moment.
Alright. As you kind of make your way back there, go ahead and roll investigation.
Because I was probably the one that noticed it.
Yeah, you would have noticed it.
I'm overcome by the sense of ingredients for bread.
Has he gotten... No, I shouldn't ask.
You don't really notice anything drastically out of place with the in the spot where you can smell the perfume.
Boy, wouldn't it be crazy if one of just the ambient servants did it? Answer: none of the above.
So it's the option you never see.
Just shoot them all and let God sort it out.
I mean, we did that, and then God sorted us out.
Yeah, the police commissioner himself waggled his finger at us. Somehow in our minds.
It's okay. We're all gonna beat the shit out of Jeremy after all of this.
Oof.
I've returned.
Oh, what's
Uh,
up?
Welcome.
So it turns out Jeremy was the killer all along.
Ah,
Seriously?
No.
No.
no, of course not.
Eric, you're currently in a pizza-induced sort of napping state, and you're just sort of rousing yourself awake.
Works for me.
All right.
I'll just share the notes of my discovery so far.
All right. As you begin to discuss while Miss Kalan is still, she's like swirling a finger around the brim of her wine glass.
You gotta actually fill me in.
Well, I put the link to my notes in the Discord Rooms and Reptiles.
Okay.
Give it a peek, but there's a lot to say, really. It'd be faster to read, so that Dova can get to others.
Okay.
Explore that pantry.
Rakuu already has. And
Ah,
Rok-Rok, are
nothing.
you doing anything in particular aside from borderline harassing the suspects?
I would not even call it that. He's just merely vaguely staring at people intently, not blinking.
He took the face out of the jar and he's wearing it over his face, going "Bleh," at everyone,
My God.
sticking his tongue through the what's left over of the mouth.
Hey, you don't know.
French this flesh face.
You don't know what Rok-Rok does in his own private time.
Yes, I do, because he does it around everyone else.
Hey,
This is true.
at least he's still not as bad as the Joker.
Yet.
What the fuck's the Joker?
Oof.
Is that like a jester?
Yes?
At one
I
point
think
in the
it's a playing
comics,
card.
the Joker cut his own face off and then wore it like a mask over the
Are you
stuff
sure?
beneath.
Are you sure Nicolas Cage didn't wear it as a mask?
I'm sure it was the Joker.
I think it's a playing card.
I'm biding my time for the right moment.
To show
Right.
off the face in the jar.
For something.
Okay.
Right.
As long as
Yeah.
it's not the dwarf in the flask, we're okay.
Shut up. What is it? Oh, I'm losing my mind.
Oh,
All right.
easy.
What is everyone doing now?
Well, I'm just organizing my notes and figure out who to talk to next after I put the perfume back.
All right.
Can I do a perception check on the room? See how they're acting? Are they more
They're acting? Go ahead.
50? Oh,
Ooh.
yes.
Stop stealing all the good rolls.
Really, all of them have seemingly come under the effect of whatever Rakuu had given them. They seem to be constantly fidgeting. They've actually reordered a good amount of the books on the bookshelf to be alphabetical.
Biscuits of better truth. Biscuits.
Okay,
The
so
biscuits of bitter truth.
so
Oh,
Rok-Rok's
Uh,
gonna walk in the middle of the room. I assume there's like a table in front of him.
Yes.
He's gonna do Eldritch Blast on the ceiling to get everybody's attention,
You shake everyone awake, and
And then he's gonna slam.
Are you aiming at anything in particular?
Nah, just general ceiling.
The chandelier?
Sure.
Because there is chandelier.
Ooh, yes, it's sparkly.
Ooh.
He'll aim for that.
Oh, Jesus. Just go ahead and roll damage.
Hold on.
I believe that's 2. Unless you only want to cast 1 bolt.
He'll do 2.
It's 2. Alright, you deal 11 damage to the chandelier.
Oh boy.
As from behind you, you're kind of sitting around quietly talking with each other and getting your stories kind of figured out. All of a sudden, you hear a tremendous crashing noise. As you look back, you see hundreds of little pieces of crystal and wire and various bits of polished metal are raining down in this room, breaking wine bottles on the table, embedding themselves in the like some coffee tables.
Chandelier falls.
Rok-Rok,
everyone
can you give
dies.
me a dexterity saving throw?
Sure.
Dex saves from everyone. Instant death if failed.
Chandelier falls, everyone dies.
Yep.
I'm good with that. Well, the
Mystery
roll.
or everyone died. Mystery.
Yes.
Mystery. No one left to accuse.
You look very satisfied at the noise and the ruckus you've caused. And as you look up, you see a large piece of it kind of pivot down and swing over and like arc itself directly towards you. But you kind of sidestep it, and a large piece about the size of
No,
you
he matrix
just kind of
dodged it.
embeds itself into the ground next to you. With a heavy thunk, just this continuous tinkling as various pieces of crystal and broken glass kind of roll over the wooden floor.
And once everybody's attention is on him, he's gonna take the jar out and show everybody.
Hey guys, look what I did. Hey guys, look what I did.
You hear multiple cries of protest as you are now parading around the face of their friend who
I
has
feel
just
like-
been murdered.
They should have to make some like Constitution saving throws.
Everybody give me an insight check.
Insight, you say? Well, alright then. If
Oh,
you-
that's beautiful.
My rolls suck.
Yep.
My roll seems about right.
Why is it the 5 plus 3 for the 3rd time now?
That
On
is
the
3/8 though.
Same roll.
Eric's and Rok-Rok. You both think that they should be a bit more alarmed. Maybe a bit more disgusted. For you, considering the circumstances of what's just happened, they're taking it rather well.
That is suspicious. You know what? What if they're all the murderers?
I mean,
don't
that's
know.
how I went into this.
The face is just kind of floating. Looks like it may blink.
Ugh.
He does very good work.
So he does. But all of them? That's too easy. Isn't it?
The almost uproar sort of dies down, and you get General Cole sort of striding up to you, saying, "Just what in God's name are you doing?"
To who? Me?
Yeah. Who else is causing the commotion now?
I just shrug.
Surely you must have some damn reason for what I assume to be defacing a corpse, defiling even.
I shake my head no.
Oh my god. You know, at this point, you should ask, do you want yours done next?
No, I'm gonna point to his face and then point to the jar.
Do you want this on your face? Do you want this?
Commissioner will know about this.
Oof. The commissioner will remember that.
I give him a dismissive wave with my tail.
He shakes his head, very noticeably just kind of outraged, and sort of storms away.
He's the only one that reacted correctly, but not strong enough. Huh.
I mean, he was a war general, so that does seem about right to me.
Yes.
Because he's definitely seen worse, so he's just like, the hell is wrong with you?
Rok-Rok's gonna mosey up to the heavier woman and just kinda place the jar in front of her face.
You want
She shields her
face.
eyes. Could you please take that away from me?
He presses it further.
General Cole is going to return. He's going to grab your shoulder and pull you away.
Oh,
You
I'm
want to
gonna.
contest this?
Yo, yes, I am.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Roll.
I want to watch carefully because General Cole was the first person that I had truthied.
you know, I'm just gonna quietly watch because the attention's not on me either, so I'm not gonna do anything until people call for me to take action.
You gonna roll athletics?
Yes.
Actually, no. This should be strength.
Strength.
Yeah, strength check.
Strength versus strength.
All right, he barely beats you.
Mm.
As even with your dense strength, you're muscled away by just like a wall of force. It feels like
I have
This
that
is
spell.
tremendous hands just sort of grab your shoulder and push you aside, as he now interposes himself between you and Miss Ariella. Madame Ariella. Even though I don't understand what strange new detective strategies you're using here, I won't let you employ them any longer. As frankly, they're an abomination. Just unprofessional.
I'm gonna look at him and say soldier, like really stern, kind of like a higher ranking official would say to a underling to him.
Oof, talking down to the general. Ex-general.
I
And is
believe
that
this
all
would
you're gonna
be
say?
a performance check.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay.
Could I do intimidation?
You can try.
Okay, I'd rather.
You- He'd probably have a higher check against that.
Ooh.
No.
His arms cross his shoulder as he looks down at you, and almost he growls back.
Oh.
I growl right back at him.
He's unfazed.
I'm
I'm just-
unfazed.
I'm just waiting for the initiative check.
What's everybody else doing?
I'm observing for now, but interesting. General Cole is certainly the only person of action around here.
I'm currently looking around in a food stupor. Not entirely sure what's going on.
You are
I-
up at this point. You are up and
That is reflecting my personal self as well.
Yeah, I get you.
I read through those notes and I'm still lost.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's confusing. I have leads and suspicions, but I'm not sure what questions to ask yet to find
Okay.
answers.
Let's start with this, because this wasn't explained. What did the Biscuits of Bitter Truth do?
Essentially gave them like ADD. Or no, OCD or something like that. They're all fidgeting and they're fixing the books and wiping off tables.
If I can give you a real life counterpart, it's you just gave them Adderall.
I was
Oh.
just thinking the same way. Adderall, Ritalin, something like that.
So basically, they didn't do what they were supposed to.
No,
Or what I was hoping, essentially. It wasn't. This is still in clinical testing.
Can
Well,
I do
as
a
of right now,
perception? Go ahead.
We've got perfume on the murder weapon that belongs to... It was Kalan?
yes.
Have we questioned her
Kalan.
about that?
She seemed unfazed when I told her about this.
But she had revealed to you that she is currently having an affair with Monsieur Petit.
Yes, and I also told her it was on his hands, which I'm assuming were on her, which is why they smell like her.
She also said that,
Yep.
or at least implied it rudely.
Okay, so as far as I'm concerned right now, we've got two suspects. The
Ariel
corset,
and Petite.
I was saying Kalan.
Yes, she does seem suspicious.
Why do we have reason to suspect Ariella?
Well, there was also that brief conversation between Ariel and Petite where they seemed to be collaborating with their stories.
Yeah, I think it's Petite and Ariana. I don't think the general has too much to do. Except for
It's-
wrong
Yeah,
place, wrong time.
I don't think the general does. I'm not sure about Ariella or Ariella. Yeah.
Madam.
Despite being
Okay, so
But,
business rival of Blonde.
Monsieur Petite is basically a steward. So he doesn't have a lot of money. It's possible that Ariella paid him to...
It's been stated that Monsieur Petit is in fact the head of household for at least 3 other households. He is perhaps a major domo among major domos.
Okay. Still possible, what I was saying there.
Go ahead. Yes.
That he was paid by Ariella to do the murder.
Okay.
Yeah, he's pretty prime for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been just gathering clues to see if I could find a strong lead. And this seems alright.
Well, the fact that they didn't seem too phased when I have my jar of mystery meat floating around,
None of them did, really.
except for the general, I think.
Yeah, he seemed correct.
That seemed an appropriate reaction. Not Rok-Rok's theory. My theory is, Miss Kalyan and Blonde were together. Isaac walked in, got mad, and murdered Blonde while Ariella is covering for Isaac.
Huh. And where does Petite fit into it?
Petite killed Blonde because
Oh,
Petite
right.
used to be in a relationship with Colin, but Colin would have been in a relationship with Mr. Blonde. Saw them, got jealous, killed him. Madam is covering for both of them.
An interesting spiral. Now, how do we get the answers from them? What questions do we have to ask?
I have a jar of face, so there's only so much I can do.
I got a jar of
Yes.
face. I got a jar of face.
Jesus.
He's snuggling that jar of face.
Oof.
In my opinion, I kind of want to just go up and be very direct about this at this point.
I mean, at this point, I've interviewed them all individually, so unless you want to ask anyone a specific question, why not? Let's just address the crowd at this
Does
point.
anybody have Zone of Truth?
I don't believe I have that spell. I have friends, but that'll ruin the relationships afterwards.
Why do we
You
care
also
about
have-
relationships with these people?
You also have suggestion.
Yes, I do. But that'll only work for a command.
Tell the truth?
Alright, what command should I give them? Because I don't
Tell
think
me
it
who's
really
the
works on
murderer.
open-ended ones like that.
No, yeah, it has to be, like, you should only say the truth until the murder's caught.
Okay, it's
That gives
huh?
us
what spell was it?
suggestion.
Suggestion.
Because it has to be like a very simple version of the idea, and it has to have a stipulation of when it ends.
That's true. Or it could just be tell us who's the murderer. That's a command. And it ends after they tell us who's the murderer.
But it can't be a command, right? It has to be,
A suggestion.
and it has to, and it
you should
can't.
really it would be a really good idea if you
You did what?
I said it would be a really good idea if you told us who the murderer.
If
Murderer
there's-
or murderers.
Man, I had mass suggestion. That'd be
You can-
fun.
Couldn't you just say point to the murderer?
Yes.
Well, but if they don't actually know, that's not helpful.
Yeah.
I feel like if you pointed to what's her face. I know we said her name a bunch of times, but it's escaping me.
Yeah, like with the prime 2 suspects, we could do something like that. Like just, I don't know. I think the truth thing is open-ended enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a course of action, course of activity.
Yep. Limited to a sentence or two, and magically influence a creature you can see within range. I can hear and understand you.
Yeah, so we should be able to just say, tell the truth.
Alright, I've got 2 casts of this, so I guess we'll just go with our prime 2 suspects. We'll start with Petite then, unless you want to start with someone else.
I'd start with Petite. I'll be in the room with you.
Yeah.
Alright, and I'm going to ask him to point to the murderer.
I mean, you could, but
Couldn't you say
It's-
what are you hiding?
That could work.
No, because that's not suggesting a course of action.
Mm.
Right.
I really think that just
I think
saying tell the truth
saying-
is enough.
yeah, answer everything truthfully. Because the thing with point to the murderer is if they actually don't know who the murderer is,
They're
and
still
they point to
pointing.
someone, they're still telling the truth because they don't know. That is their truth.
Right. Alright.
So as long as it's
You should
open-ended
be-
and yeah, so the stipulation would be tell the truth until we find the murderer. So it's not like a one-shot thing either.
Alright. Works for me. I'm going to go over to Monsieur Petit and sit down in front of him. Hello there, I'm back. Just for a short little while.
It looks like
He nods. He seems to have continued reading in his book. He's made it. Can't really tell how far. Yes, and what do you need now?
No, just a few more questions. However, and I suppose now he'll cast Suggestion with a DC of... It's a Wisdom saving throw of 17.
Now, would he have disadvantage because he's drugged?
It's an excellent question.
Oh, yeah. That does
I would say
impact
that depends on
Wisdom
the
to a
command.
degree. What?
It depends on the command. What are you commanding him to do?
You should be truthful until the murderer is discovered.
Give me 1 second.
let's back up real quick.
Yes.
What I am seeing, because I did a quick search about how it works, we need to word it as being a reasonable suggestion. So let's try.
I don't see how that wasn't
Yeah.
reasonable at all.
The unreasonable would be like, give us your entire wealth.
Or give a beggar your horse.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he's got things he wants to hide, in which case it wouldn't be reasonable for him. Maybe?
Exactly, that's the problem.
So, were you gonna ask him a question?
Well,
Because he did fail the saving throw.
alright. Looks like the DM accepted our suggestion. Tell me about your relationship with Madame Ariel. Madame Ariel, yes.
Madame Ariella.
Yes. Are you having current dealings with her?
Not at the moment. There was a time when I did oversee one of her households, but that time has passed. Roughly 5 years ago, I believe. In roughly the same boat as Miss Kalan in regards to my business dealings with her, though. Our relationship has changed somewhat.
Changed, you say? How so?
Take a guess. I saw her reaction as you were speaking to her. So I know that you know about us.
Yes, currently even counter to what you said earlier, but I suppose I've gotten it cleared up.
Continue.
Should I just go and ask him?
I mean, at this point, I don't know.
Tell me, what else might you have been hiding?
Give me a perception check.
Oh, gladly.
Just him?
I believe Rok-Rok and Rakuu, you're in the same room.
Oh, perception check. I thought you said something else. That's just one below it.
Deception.
Performance.
It's like,
No. Sorry, two below it.
oh, persuasion.
It's so awful, these rolls today.
I'm having flashbacks of the beginning of the last time we played.
Oh, finally.
You see that for most of the time, his hands have kind of been, well, almost like unconsciously hidden away and always in a respectable manner, just sort of crossed behind his back or folded on his lap. You see that he kind of, because he currently has his left hand over his right. He sort of very, very subtly rubs it. Nobody else really notices this as he tells you, Sully, "No, I don't believe I have been hiding anything else."
You're getting nervous, Mr. Petite.
Somewhat. This is a tense situation after all.
Indeed. A tense situation. A very tense situation.
How long does
Of which you
suggestion
are a
last?
potential suspect.
8
It's
hours.
until the condition is met, right? 8 hours of the condition is met.
That's right. However, I'm unsure if the DM took the command. Or the
Something
proper
for me to
suggestion.
know.
Yes, it is.
I would like to insight the DM.
Sure. Roll
Oof.
1d20 in the spectral realm. Yes,
Spectrum.
that's wrong realm, my man.
Oh.
You gotta go a
That
few dimensions
tower.
down.
Oh.
And then to the left.
Yep.
It's always to the left.
Just roll 1d20 there. And I'll get back to you on that.
And 2 to
Back
3
to-
billion years. That's the
Oh.
way the
2 to
works.
3 business days.
Oh, you're fast for a DM.
This is the scale I work at.
And,
What
you
a
will
thing to tell your DM. You're
You
fast.
you only get the response if you're facing north and make a half right face at 11:03 a.m.
That's when I send the
I'm in.
letter. So,
Now, the post office, on the other hand, will lose your letter 5 times.
what do you say now?
Oh, right. Yes, a tense situation, of which you perhaps might have perhaps held the murder weapon yourself at one point.
I believe that Anir has rolled properly. So it's a 26.
Wow.
Oh,
I'll get back to you on that. I believe that is 26. So tomorrow morning there's going to be 6 pigeons on your windowsill. Just kind of squeeze the 4th one and it'll squawk out the answer. 4th from the left, of course, not from the right.
It's always to the left. DM's rule 223. Always to the left.
huh.
Is that all, detective?
Yes. However, I'm curious to hear how you'll answer to this.
Please continue.
You have Madame Kalan's scent upon your hands, and the same perfume is on the murder weapon, leading me to suspect one of you held the murder weapon at some point.
Logical conclusion.
However, from the testimonies I've heard so far, General Cole was the only one to enter the room after the murder was discovered. And you've all been together since then.
Indeed.
Do you have anything to say in your defense? Or the defense of Miss Kalan?
You see him very, very carefully try to choose his words, as he did before, except with much more fervor this time. I believe it's a waste to even continue investigating. For all we know, it could have been an assassin who's since easily escaped by now, disappearing into the storm. Almost on
Yes.
cue, a lightning bolt strikes down.
I also find it very interesting that you're attempting to sidetrack me now of all times, but I'm trying to confront you directly with evidence that I've discovered. Should I roll intimidation for this?
Go ahead.
Because, like, I'm trying to break down his calm. Oh, Rok-Rok will be proud of me.
Tugs at his collar. What makes you say that you're even correct? Everything you have is just coincidental.
Coincidental, perhaps, but you are reacting to it, and I don't think it's just the tension in the air.
He switches his legs. Instead of the left crossing over, it's now the right.
Your body is doing more talking than you are. You're losing control, Mr. Petite. It'll be easier if you just tell me what you know.
I'll never talk to you. Not
Mhm.
anymore.
Can I come up behind Sully and
Anything of what I've said has been under good faith. Now that good faith is gone after, well, one of you paraded a man's face around in a jar. What are you doing, Rok-Rok?
I was gonna say, Rok-Rok's will be behind Sully and slowly raising the jar of the face up behind Sully.
My god.
That fits perfectly with what he said.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yep. Shakes the jar a little bit.
Anyone else want to be bad cop? I don't
I
wanna
want to say
stop
something, but
pressing.
I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be too direct.
I mean, at this point, I'm being full direct. Because, like, I'm now going to slam my fist down on the table in front of him and say, I may accuse you of being the murderer yourself. You will be taken in.
All right, just from the corner, I want to say.
When you say accuse, there's a sudden gravity in the air. Almost as if time itself has just slowed to a crawl. Do you continue?
Yes. I accuse you of being the murderer unless you defend yourself properly or admit to your guilt.
You hear a knock on the door.
Alright.
Everybody hears it. It's a fairly heavy knock as well.
Alright, I'll get up and go get that.
Slowly kind of creaking the door open and looking outside, you see about 5 or 6 men, each of them wearing sort of black, very dark blue clothing, with a sort of like a pith helmet on top of their head. Each of them with a very rather heavy mustache. One of the ones with the larger mustaches and some gold trim on their uniform is the one who knocked on the door.
The police commissioner?
Yes. Did you make any headway on this case?
Yes. At this moment, I'm accusing of one man in particular of being the murderer.
Wonderful. Please be sure to include all of your documents and any sort of notes with the report. We'll take it from here.
Of course. Right away.
As, in a cartoonish fashion, they all sort of goose step in, grab Monsieur Petit sort of by the arms, and you can see as he struggles and almost raves and rants as he's taken out, his calm utterly and completely just broken. I didn't do it! I never would have done it! And take everyone else with, they're all complicit. Rah, 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 rah. He sort of disappears onto the driving rain outside. It's kind of quiet now.
Oh, the question is, did we choose right?
Bum bum bum.
Well,
You look around, kind of expecting everyone else to react, but there is no one else.
It's over.
There's still a lit cigar in the ashtray, but everyone's...
Where did they... Oh.
Cobalt
my
contemplates another
God,
slice of
we were
pizza.
dealing with ghosts.
Hey, Dova?
Yeah.
Important question. Do I still have my jar?
You would still have the jar.
Oh. He is a happy camper as he's gonna go back to
Okay.
his room.
He said you have the jar. Doesn't mean the face is inside.
Face is still inside
Okay.
at the current moment.
Just
Yep.
wanted to clarify.
There's a small clink as what seems like maybe a letter drops into the mailbox.
I'm gonna go look.
All right.
Okay.
You look, and it's addressed to somebody referred to as the detective.
All of us.
Or
I will
Sully.
read it out loud for everybody.
All right.
Can you read? No, wait, that was Rok-Rok.
It is,
Can't
it
read.
is in common.
Gee, thanks. I've got an intelligence of 14 for the record.
You're also a druid.
And?
Oh,
Hey, you're just as smart as Cobalt.
There's only
On it-
one Rok-Rok in here.
oh, can you please be quiet for one moment?
Moving on.
On it is written very tersely.
But yes, druids can
It's-
read.
It
They
almost
definitely
reads like,
learn
you know,
how to
that,
read.
Can you calm down?
Okay, I'm done.
It reads like the synopsis on many novels, like the first maybe few words in a paragraph, and it says, "Murder in the middle of the night among friends. Who is innocent, and who is the bloodthirsty traitor?" And it just goes on and on. It kind of describes a very basic plot of what happens before, and sort of you follow the efforts of detectives to uncover the true perpetrator.
Play with family and friends. Eviscerate the body.
And there's actually a second sheet And on it it's written almost like a score sheet.
Oh.
You received 20 points for okay to good detective interview process, plus 20 points for gathering evidence and examining a crime, plus 50 points for identifying the actual murderer, plus 0 for identifying any accomplices to the crime or accessories to the crime, and minus 3,000 for completely disfiguring and almost ritually dismembering the body.
Yeah, I saw that
means,
coming.
That means Rok-Rok won, right?
Yep, Rok-Rok
That is indeed the biggest number. I mean, by size, it takes up on the paper.
Well, I mean, I did mention their conversation with Madame Ariel, but well, I suppose they didn't mention it to the police commissioner. My fault.
Out of character, I'd like to know if I was correct about what's her face, Kalan being an accomplice.
She was actually an accomplice.
Did she hire him like I thought?
As was everybody.
Oh, Dova.
I knew we should have killed them
Literally
all.
what I thought. That's what I tried to do in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Shot everybody.
Technically
I
got
knew
it
there's
right.
Shit like that, yeah. What was
I
literally
believe
the first
I
thing
said
I said?
something very early on about there being a large inheritance.
Yes, you did.
The fact that
And-
everyone's bed was made and in order should have tipped you off to the fact that they had time to get up, rather than getting up in a rush, as a murder would involve.
Well,
Very
I
nice.
didn't expect time to stop once I accused him.
I told you. Do you want to continue?
Well, I mean, you already just gave us our score sheets and answers.
Yep.
Yeah, we kind of can't anymore. It'd be cheating.
However, it does inform you underneath so that this hereby grants you 5% ownership to the final sales of the official Murder on Rainy Peak novel. Seems pretty good.
So somebody put us into this, presumably Jeremy, for the sole sake of
advertising his book.
You're not sure that Jeremy is the one who wrote this?
I'm still gonna beat the shit out of him.
This freaking mansion. I swear to God. It's got mirror demons in it.
Because yeah, I don't think any of this was still the same thing as the mirrors. Those are still an issue.
Yes, they are. We still haven't figured that out. I broke a mirror, and it didn't seem to like that, because it screamed when the mirror came back.
Still, the most important question: how does the pantry work?
That's an excellent question. And shortly after you read the letter, you hear another clink. This time in the outgoing mailbox.
I'll pull it out and read that off too.
There's a small note attached to another rather thick sort of bundle of papers. It's rather simple, but it does not seem to be in Jeremy's handwriting. So you think. It seems to be the same print that everything on the blueprints is detailed in. It simply says, "Please fix your mistake." And the bundle of papers that it's attached to is currently the blueprint.
That. Right.
Oh, is it
Brace
how mirror spelled or?
Yeah, Rok-Rok's mirror. In
You-
his room.
You kind of group around and look through the blueprints, and Rok-Rok, you see it, and yeah, that's what you wrote. That's exactly what you wrote.
It looks correct. I give the thumbs up.
Yeah.
Murder.
Everyone else, it reads murder.
So this was all Rok-Rok's fault.
I had a feeling.
That, I mean, it had the
Hold on, I
M,
missed it.
had the
I just
R.
got back.
M, yeah, the
Mother
R.
fucker.
You got two R's and the M.
What happened?
Damn you and your illiteracy, Rok-Rok.
I missed it. What happened?
Rok-Rok did all of this.
You put
Remember?
murder instead of mirror?
Yeah.
And, I mean,
That's
we
what I figured.
expected this. It happened after he put it in the slot.
I just thought the house was going in rejection.
I'd like to open the door and see if I can get out finally.
Yeah, you can actually step out into the back of your cart, and you notice that it is raining fairly hardly outside.
Good thing we're inside of a cave. I'm gonna go check on Kale and Donkey.
You step outside. Kale notices you leave and just sort of springs up. You hear him, and you kind of get the idea that he's very sorry for being mad at you earlier. That sort of emotion, as he sort of scruffles into your neck.
It's
Absence
okay.
makes the heart grow fonder.
I've actually decided that Kale's gonna be recurring between all of my characters. It's
yes,
gonna
you
be
have-
interesting.
Somewhat successfully solved the murder.
So when we do get our share of the profit, can we just not give it to Rok-Rok?
I mean, if you look about it,
Even
you
though
wouldn't
even
get-
though Rok-Rok is the reason you're earning that share in the first place.
He also gave us minus 3,000. We probably would have had a bigger share.
I
I
mean,
can't breathe.
5% or 0%.
we will
Damn it,
give
Cobalt.
Rok-Rok 5% of the
Just
5%.
let
Or-
him read it, and we can tell him that it says 0.01%. And he'll
Oh,
think
yeah!
that that's what it says written on it.
We can tell him whatever we want. He's got no idea.
Hey, I know how to spell. I spelled mirrors correct.
No, you didn't.
Look, there's an M and an R. It's the same.
No, it's not. And this all just proved that. You know what? I'm really tempted to take a bite out of the biscuit of bitter truth just to see exactly what it does for myself.
Yeah,
I
you
really
got one of the ends of the crust left. Yeah.
You
I don't know
know,
if I want to do that though, because it's gonna give me issues next session.
It's entirely possible.
So I'm not.
I would like to write demon free and horror free on that and put it back in.
Horror free or whore free?
Horror.
Okay,
Yes, I quite like the second one.
just making sure.
So, now that you are all free, in quotation marks,
Huh.
what do you all do?
I want to go outside the cart and kill something.
Sure.
That's fine. I'm gonna probably go talk to Shuluth about mirror demons.
Go ahead and roll survival to go find something in the woods.
I want to shoot a bird. That's what I'm gonna shoot.
Oh, now don't
Huh?
make this personal.
Huh?
Let's not make
No,
this
I don't
personal.
mean by that. It's because I have a feeling that something nice is gonna come up, like a fox or something, and I don't want to kill. So a bird seems tame.
You know, it just happens to be the same thing as the DM.
Ah.
Okay, I'll look for a squirrel sitting on a stump.
Next to a bird.
And quote unquote accidentally hit the
The
bird.
bird is behind them.
Due to the fact that it is pitch black out, as well as it raining fairly hardly, I would say that the best you could do, just looking around very, very carefully and listening very hard, is to find a bird's nest with maybe a bird in it. You can't really tell from way down here, but
What about
it's
a
a good
toad?
ways up. What?
What about a toad?
You look around, kind of poke.
Mostly listen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you would hear toads and frogs all around you. And sort of walking a little ways and listening. You find a handful, you'd say, and in this sort of small area, roughly 20 feet radius.
I want to test out something of getting my bow and just drawing a normal arrow higher than I usually would and pulling it back to see if I can get a spectral and a normal arrow knocked.
All right. You attempt to do something rather interesting with the bow. And as you draw it back, you notice that you can feel this sort of very faint thrumming within the arrow itself, but no spectral arrow actually forms.
All right, I'll fire at one of the toads.
All right. It's got an AC of like maybe 10. It's rather small, so go ahead and roll to hit. Roll to attack.
Oh yeah, it's +9.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's an auto crit.
It doesn't matter. You don't need to do sneak attack on a toad.
Sneak attack on a toad?
Well, I mean, I can still draw a card. Would you like a card?
I'm fine. It just puffs.
Ooh.
So did anything
Fuck.
manifest from the thrumming I felt in the arrow?
Seems to be, well, it shoots at about the same strength as the spectral arrows. As compared to when it was not magical, it's same strength. Or it's a little bit
No,
stronger than when it was not
I mean,
magical.
it was that one was magical to begin with. That was a +1 that I bought and then enchanted it with
Yes.
those arrows. So are you saying it's like a +2 now?
No, it's about the same as when it was magical. It is still a +1.
Okay.
That's just a, sort of a manifestation of the enhancing magics. Sort of
Yeah.
imparting a little bit more force as it releases.
Alright, I'm gonna go back to the cart and go inside.
Alright. Rok-Rok,
Yep.
what you doing?
I am taking my jar back up to my room,
Alright.
and I'm gonna close the door.
Alright. You bring the jar up to your room, you sit down and close the door.
Yeah, I'll go back to my workstation and finish up on my identity.
I'm pretty sure he closed the door before he sits down.
Oh yeah. You continue working.
Cobalt is gonna go to Raku's room and fall asleep
Alright.
because he's tired from eating so much.
It was a lot of pizza you ate.
Also,
I am not in the bedroom, so or did you go to my workshop or you go to my room?
Your room.
Okay, well, I don't notice, so.
And sleep in your bed. That's fine.
Uh,
Doesn't have a bedroom. You know this.
Eric's,
I know.
it seems that Donkey has been rather content out here.
Okay, good.
As it is progressing throughout the year, he's starting to grow these little patches of somewhat heavier fur. Probably for winter, maybe. So he seems very comfortable to be in this somewhat cold, but dry, sort of rock overhang.
I'm gonna have to. I'll go ahead and still grab a one of the blankets from the cart itself and put it over him.
Okay.
Got
Doesn't
plenty
really
in there.
react. Yeah, he doesn't really react, but he seems to be somewhat grateful. Sully, what are you doing?
Well, I've not gathered much from history checks previously, and I rolled pretty darn good. So I'm probably just gonna go to Shuluth. Or I'm going to go to that hidden city. Anyone want to come with me?
I'll go with you, and I'll set up the rope that I made specifically to go there.
Yes.
All right. I assume you're going through the servant door as well.
Yes.
All right.
Because
Again-
I have the pit and laid in the floor by that door to hang the rope on,
All right, right.
and it's also knotted to make it easier.
Alright. I'll give it an experimental tug to feel its strength and
It
hop
seems
through
strong.
holding onto the rope.
As you open the door, there's that same sort of grinding sensation, but it seems to hold and work just fine. As you open the door, it opens into a sort of a misty white fog. And you throw the rope through, and it actually becomes taut. Not extremely taut, but
Who's teaching it what?
I'll kick you. Can I kick you from the server? Do I have that power?
You have a lot of power. You're the DM.
No.
Rocks fall, everyone dies. Rocks
But I could mute him on this server. That wouldn't be very good for me, but I could.
Yeah, it wouldn't be very healthy.
No. Right, it's like we're playing like United States and Soviet Russia. Just no matter who starts this, it ends in chaos and pain. Sully, you lower yourself through, as it were, as you're walking horizontal one moment, and you pass through with a sort of a falling sensation, and the next thing you know, you're swinging sort of upside down, as the door currently is about at, I'd say, 5 feet or so off the ground, completely upside down. As you kind of swing and come to a rest, you realize you're maybe about 2 inches off the ground. And it is indeed nighttime in the hidden city.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Still not feeling too well. So it's all right.
You were saying? You're not feeling too well.
I'm gonna go ahead and bounce if that's all right with everyone.
Okay.
We got through the rest of the murder mystery. I think.
Yeah, feel
No, that's
better.
fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Have a good night, guys.
Night.
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 Bye-bye!
No. That can only happen once per session.
You know he's gonna do it again.
I'm gonna mute myself whenever that whole thing happens. I'm gonna mute myself.
It will be
So-
I don't know why I
forever.
hate it so
Screaming.
much. Anyways,
It's like a deranged monkey mouse.
it is. Anyways, you are now in the hidden city. When you go to find Shuluth, the interaction goes almost exactly as it did last time, with him sort of slowly coming to the door, dressed in a nightgown, complete with a nightcap. As he sees you, he sighs again, and he says, What?
There's a creature in our mirror.
That's great. Could you elaborate, please? As you can
Yes.
see that there's actually like a tea set that's brewing tea by the side and sort of automatically placing tea inside of the kettle and preparing some glasses just on the side. What?
I'll recount what we experienced in the nightmare and the events so far. Sorry, there's an angry cat on my lap right now. Can someone else take over? Can you hear him?
I heard him a little bit.
Was that what that bell noise was earlier?
Yes.
Wow.
Can you hear him? He just got in my lap and he's super mad.
I heard that.
You kind of recount him with your tale of what's been happening in the mirrors, and he says, or he yawns, and you can hear it, even though he doesn't make the sound physically. I yawned IRL. Sorry.
Oh my god! I hope this isn't coming through.
I can hear it.
It's coming through. Everybody on stream can hear it.
Ah, angry cats. Who'd have thought?
And he says, it's probably just a result of the magical artifact. I wouldn't pay it much mind.
We had a
You
nightmare.
haven't been physically harmed by any of these illusions?
No, but we had a shared nightmare about this.
Fine. Well, in the future, I perhaps advise against such deals that appear to be too good to be true.
You mean the mansion
Yes.
entirely?
Yes. Something like that should have been much, much more expensive. But considering some of the corners which he seems to have cut, it's no surprise to me that there are some strange occurrences.
Can
Now-
we get those corners repaired?
He sighs again. A cup of freshly poured tea is sort of floating over to him. Without paying a exorbitant fee for him to fix it, then probably not.
I see. Well,
It's going to be fair. He collects his thought and rubs his temple as he continues. It maybe it might appeal to common horror stereotypes, maybe. I would simply ignore it. As either whatever it's drawing inspiration from and these things is fairly harmless for now.
very well. Thank you for the information. I thought it was something significantly worse.
Yes, I would not worry about it. If it hasn't harmed you physically, then I don't believe it would be any sort of danger to you. However, if you do find yourself being physically affected, either mentally or physically, while outside the mansion itself, I suppose then it would be some cause of alarm. But I suppose ignore it the best you can.
Alright then. I suppose I'll be going. Have a good night? Evening?
Yes, night. And about the darkest part of it as well.
Guys,
I will
maybe
see
we
you
should
later.
stop going to visit him in the middle of the night.
But that's when we're awake.
I don't want to piss off Cthulhu.
Yes, Lich Cthulhu. Shouldn't be sleeping, because he's a Lich.
I don't believe anyone has ever said he's a lich.
You did.
I
You
don't
did
believe
multiple
so.
times, and he introduced himself as such.
I'll have to look back on that.
Well,
But
there
I-
are video recordings.
Don't. That is true. I mean, not that, but you know, something else.
Introduced
Anyway.
himself as a lich because we were obviously rightly concerned about a mind flare. And so he told us that he was a lich and that he'd put off those urges, to eat our brains.
That is what he said. Then yes. All right. As Sully, you sort of climb your way back into the mansion.
How
Sorry.
curious that even a Lich sleeps.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Sully,
Yes.
you are now back in the mansion.
Alright.
So you
I'll-
pull the rope back in, close the door, and give me a history check.
Alright. History check. Not one I'm bad at. Cat, calm your...
You're just about to grab the key when you realize last time it was super freaking hot.
Ah,
Like it burned your hand last time.
I guess I'll grab a thick glove.
You look around, you grab an oven mitt from the kitchen actually, and remove the key, and you can feel through the mitt that it does have a good amount of heat to it right now.
Ah, it's still hot. Boy, this key does not like this. Well, I got the key.
All right.
I'll
Rakuu.
probably just set it
Sorry.
on a table
Yeah.
on top of the oven mitt.
Okay. You as you set it down, you see that there is like waves of heat slowly emanating off of it. Rakuu, what are you doing? Other than killing toads.
I went to the city with them, and I came back.
Oh right.
Yep.
I'm sorry if I didn't pay you more attention while there.
That's fine.
Okay.
I wasn't
You know-
really gonna do anything anyways. I would have said something.
Okay.
You know, I thought you were gonna make me do a history check on why do liches sleep? Do liches sleep? But that would be more
Wouldn't
of
that be an Arcana check?
Yeah.
Would have been more of an Arcana check.
It almost sounds like a self-help book.
Oh, what? Do liches sleep?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it does.
Do Liches Sleep a Witch's Dream by Dr. Seuss?
Do liches dream of magical sheep?
You see, I thought about that, but it wasn't good.
I guess I don't have a filter for that.
Let's find out. Let's find
I mean, I was.
I mean, you
Are you
don't
ready
know
to
very
roll?
much about liches at all. You've heard they're very bad. You know, they're evil. They kind of, take people's souls and do all sorts of fun stuff. Not having to live probably absolves someone from sleep. Probably.
Maybe it's just habit at this point. He's probably a very good method actor.
It's the method actor.
Yes.
All I heard was talking about do they sleep, and all I heard was meth.
I see. You're off a few letters.
So, is there anything else special that anyone wants to do?
Well, I'm gonna tell everyone else what Shula told me. Everyone that's in the mansion, and then wait for the people to come back so I can tell them.
All right. Eric's, you're outside.
am. I'd keep at least first watch outside.
Okay.
Roll them dice.
The night seems to go fairly smoothly. However, I would like you to give me a perception check, Eric's.
Let's see. The hell? Why did that open? That's what I want. There's Kale, because he's obviously with me. And there's mine.
He's a very perceptive boy.
You hear what sounds to be the howling of a wolf pack somewhere in the distance. It's fairly far off, and you can barely hear it over the constant drive of the rain. But it's out there. However, it doesn't seem that they come within visible range outside of the hut. As you do have Melf's magnificent hut, or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, Cobalt would
Is
have.
it Morton Fans?
I have no idea.
Oh. As the rest of the night would pass uneventfully, as there weren't very many hours left in night, actually. You guys had stopped relatively early, as you guys were very, very tired. But it is now starting to become evening. The sun, which had barely made an appearance during the day due to the heavy cloud cover, is now slowly dipping below the horizon again as all of you stir from your sleeps. Sully having recounted what Shuluth had told him.
Basically, we got a discount reason. A real big reason.
Yes. What's your passive perception, Sully?
Pass percept.
Yes.
Oh. Okay. My passive perception is 13.
Something catches your eye as you wake up in the morning and step outside your door. You kind of instinctually look towards the motion and you see the end of a reptilian tail snaking around the corner in the hallway upstairs. However, this tail is almost like a blanched white. You recognize the color.
I'll freeze and my claws will dig into the floor. And my foot claws will dig into the floor. No. I pursue.
Alright. At almost breakneck pace, you just sprint. You think you ripped up the carpet where you were standing. And as you reach the corner, you look and you see a dead end.
I'll go back to my room and shake my head. You think crap's just playing? Just
Give me
playing
a
with me.
wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
The encounters, it's shaken you. But now that you're thinking about it more, that now that you've returned to your room, you can't remember, you can't truly determine if it actually happened or not. Like there's this evidence around you, the fact that you've ran out there, but it almost feels like you might have made it up. That's what it feels like. But you can't tell.
Oh, did we take a long rest since we slept?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll do that in combat tracker.
I'll just shake my head and get ready.
All right. You try to continue your morning routine as normally as you can. Everyone else wakes up and makes their way downstairs without any incident to a spread of various breakfast cuisines on one end of one of the large tables, with what looks like 5 or 6 open spots with food actually at it. For breakfast today is a fairly standard fare. There's eggs Benedict, fantastic stuff. There's a rather well-seasoned sort of cinnamon porridge / oatmeal. There's a small spread of cheeses, as well as bread. And there's a bowl of various fruits. Rather common fruits such as apples, oranges, and bananas. In addition, there's a hock of what looks to be perhaps ham or lamb. Or sheep, more like. As there's a large knife in it with a carving fork and a slice already sort of halfway hanging off. Servants are currently bringing various new things to the table as you finish them, and whatever you order, they bring back without much incident.
I'll ask for fish. For some reason, I'm in the mood for fish.
By the way, Dova, I sent you a link that you might find helpful.
Ooh, that's really cool.
Dragon turtle and garlic stew, honey glazed carrots and parsnips, cheese rolls with a filling of nuts, honey, and vegetables. The list goes on.
Pretty cool.
I also sent a document that I feel is relatable to Rok-Rok in the Rooms and Reptiles chat.
Dude, you're actually Charlie Kelly. How does it feel?
Fantastic.
Oh.
Now I gotta bring that.
Literacy? I don't know.
Hang on, stream people. You'll get it in just a sec.
Yeah, we definitely have to bring this up. It's the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah, I knew Rok-Rok was gonna hurt the group somehow. I didn't think it was be his lack of understanding coming would be the downfall.
No, what's funny is I was looking for something else, where it's, damn it, Charlie, your illiteracy has screwed us again. When he accidentally puts the bar up for the prize for a dance-off.
Okay.
Oh
He
yeah,
thought
that
it was
episode.
something that he prized. That's a prize to him. He prizes it.
The bar.
I haven't seen that show in a long. I gotta rewatch it.
It's so good, especially the new season is absurd.
Was it Always Sunny?
Yeah, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay. I now have a thing to watch now.
Because someone put anthrax in the suggestion box.
I feel like that's exactly what you guys would do if people kept sending you letters.
Except that was the Valentine's Day suggestion box. Or like Valentine's letters box. They put anthrax in it.
God, that is great.
I love that the stream right now is just the chat, ZGF Gaming, and Charlie Kelly saying, illiteracy? What does that word even mean? 10 out of 10 should have at least 1,000 viewers for that.
So, after breakfast is concluded, what do you all do?
I'm not. Where were we going?
You are currently following leads from the town of Bridgefort towards a possible settlement of kobolds in the nearby mountains.
Because we were near like the foot of the mountains. I remember we're in the valley, and that's when we dealt with the
Wyverns and their
Wyvern Riders,
Yes.
and then it turned into Faerun Noir.
Yep.
Yep.
Due to a excellent typo.
And now we have a coupon off a book.
Oh, I thought it was. Wait, is it a coupon? I thought we got shares from it.
It is indeed shares.
Oh,
Okay, it's 5% of the sales.
Oh, interesting.
So I feel like I need to get a copy of this book so we can start peddling it.
Hmm.
I think I'm done with the time to create my background, right?
Rok-Rok, are
Or do
you
I still
Vash
have-
Goku or
Who?
can you translate that message from Vash Goku? I'm guessing that Rok-Rok might understand it.
Oh,
Rok-Rok go a T, lol.
Rok-Rok 2AT.
There we go. That makes a lot of sense.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
yeah?
I'm like,
Yeah,
go with
geez.
T. What? Anyways.
Dova, would you say that I've done that? I've spent my, what is it, a week? Traveling? Maybe I still have like 2 days left.
I'd say you have 2 or 3 days left.
Huh?
I'd say you have 2 or 3 days left.
Okay.
I guess I'll just get outside the cart and play my lute to soothe myself. That's a normal thing. I'm good at this.
Go ahead and roll performance.
All right. Link. There it is.
Let's see. Alright, so it's
I am-
25 gold pieces to establish my history, the professions, affiliations, all that stuff. Are we just going to say that it's going to be a little more since I'm trying to give everyone else a little broad stuff too?
Yeah, I'd say 50 gold.
50? Oh, that's fair.
Right. I am calm.
You're what?
I said I am calm, unless somehow my harp turns to dust in my hand.
Now you do indeed feel much calmer.
Good.
It's a sort of soothing melody flows from your lute. The past incident has almost been forgotten.
That'll do for me. Raku, your ring's still charged, right? I don't believe you used it.
Tis. I did
Alright,
not.
good, just checking. For preemptive action. It's still got the heal.
It does, and it still has the invisibility.
Good, good. Just being sure. Whew.
So I no longer have these shrooms.
And you still do have a little bit of that loaf left.
Yeah? I know.
Rok-Rok, what are you doing?
I am right now. In my room, having the jars underneath the bed, and just kind of patting Sora on the head, just kind of looking at my work, and then going to do and polish my axe.
All right.
Now, did you say did you fix it to say mirror or
I don't think you guys want him touching the floor plans anymore.
As it
Right.
stands, it still does say murder.
No, I said that I crossed that out, and I wrote horror-free and demon-free.
Ah,
I said that. And I mean that.
do you
just-
write it all as one line? Or horror-free, new line, demon-free?
That. New line.
Gotcha.
But
Why do I have
he's
the
probably
feeling
gonna
that
think
you're
that we're
gonna...
just asking for free horror and spirits.
That was the initial thought.
Oh, free spirits though could be like alcohol.
Okay. No horror.
no? Hope that
No...
doesn't do anything to Zora.
No horror, no demons. Got it.
Sora's always with Rok-Rok, so
You
there's
are
no,
a freaking GD. That's what you are. You're gonna find a way to twist every little thing.
He's the DM.
you have to be
What do you
exact.
expect?
Anyways. You undo the mistake that Rok-Rok had made. So you continue traveling then? Unless anyone wants to do something special.
I think I'll just keep practicing my trade in my
Alright.
time.
Yeah, I'm
Alright.
just gonna keep doing my stuff.
Yeah, I'll keep reading my books while we're traveling.
Who's driving?
Rok-Rok.
Yeah, Rok-Rok will be out. Once he gets done his room, he'll be.
After that whole thing, he is designated bitch boy.
What? Well, I'm not gonna go back in the mansion, so I guess I'm just spending time with Rok-Rok.
Well, in that case, I'm gonna go relax in the lounge while I read.
Go ahead.
Over the next few days, nothing of real interest actually happens. Every so often you hear animals, perhaps a pack of wolves off deep in the woods, but nothing comes close to your cart.
Hold on, there is something I want to do.
Keep in mind that every couple of hours I will go out and ritual cast commune with nature.
Okay.
I
Now,
was
what are you
doing
looking
that before. I was looking for cave formations, kobolds, and I can choose one more thing, so why not buildings?
Alright. Who are you asking?
Commune with nature. You briefly become one with nature and gain knowledge of the surrounding territory.
Oh, I thought this was speak with animals.
Oh,
Okay.
no. No, this is a 5th level spell. It is a ritual spell, so of course I'm going to ritual cast it, but it'll be every few hours, and it tells me what's within 3 miles of us.
Every few hours you stop and do so, going off into the woods and making a small ritual circle. You see that there are indeed some cave systems, but you don't hear of any kobolds in the area. Sully, did you say you were going to do something?
Yes, but it's just something silly, not important.
Okay.
Well,
Um,
now that Rok-Rok's our designated driver, and I'm going to be sitting out. And for the most part, not in the mansion unless it's for sleep. I'm just going to play unfittingly combative music.
You all feel on edge with a very, very slight sliver of adrenaline going through your systems at all times.
Wait,
You're
so
ready
am
to
I,
fuck something up.
Oh,
It's
God.
like
am I
when-
the only one in? Am I the only one in the mansion right now?
I'm going
Cobalt
in and
would
out.
be kind of Yes, and Cobalt would be kind of watching you work and sort of bouncing around between everybody.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm gonna drag him out with me, completely outside, so I can let those changes take effect,
All right.
and then I'm gonna go back inside and work.
All right.
You know, kind of
You
like
notice that
Skyrim when
walking
you don't know
past.
where the enemy is and they can't reach you either. So you're just confused and looking around, wondering why there's danger.
What the dragon music starts playing.
But the
Rok-Rok's
dragon's not
so
there
into
yet.
You cannot travel when enemies are nearby.
What enemies where?
Um,
Something happened when I was walking.
yes, you were walking by what used to be Miss Kalan's room, and you notice that it does not smell of her perfume anymore. And poking into the first room on the left, you see that it's clean. There is no body anymore.
All right. Are there like scratches in the floor from when Rok-Rok cut up the fucking body?
There are not, no.
Okay.
But there is a faint smell of sawdust, as it is normal for when this renovates itself. Yes, is there anything you wanted to do while inside, other than finish your work?
Not necessarily.
All right. So, at the end of the third day, Eric's, you hear something different. You hear through the wind going through the trees that there's a large cave system nearby. Very large. And that very recently large amounts of beings have gone in and out. Although there's a slightly ominous tone that you can't really decipher. It's like... how do I describe this? When you're walking through the forest and everything is deathly quiet, you know that something is wrong, but you can't tell what. It's in this case that something is amiss, but you haven't seen it before, and you don't know what it is.
I will cast Speak with Plants and ask the trees in the area.
All right.
If like, I'll ask them if they have any idea of what's going on.
The voices you hear are somewhat happy, actually. Oh, it rained recently. It feels good. It hadn't rained in a good while. It feels rather good. Francis was cut down 3 weeks ago.
Oh gosh, the trees have names for each other.
That was somewhat of a sad day.
I'll relay what I felt from that and ask specifically about it.
Okay. There has been murmurings about beings inside the caves. Small ones much like yourself. They were actually the ones who felled Francis. Though I don't believe I harbor any ill will towards that particular act. As perhaps his body is being used in a useful way. Suppose it's a better end than falling over in a windstorm and rotting away.
All
They've
right.
been relatively quiet recently, though. There used to be a few that came through every moon or so. We haven't not seen them in some time. Perhaps 2 moons. Are you with them?
We are not, but we are seeking them. We will probably attempt to bring them with us when we go. May I ask for one of your seeds?
That's awful sudden of you.
I would like to plant it to regrow for the loss of Francis.
Roll persuasion?
It's a gesture of a tree was taken, so plant a new one. Is kind of what I'm getting at.
Out of the blue, you feel a pine cone, or what looks to be a pine cone, just sort of knock off your skull, sort of surprising you more than anything, and just roll to the ground next to your feet, and spinning for a little bit.
Ah, well, there it is.
Thank you much, and thank you for the information.
I would tell you where they are exactly, but there are no trees that high up.
If you could point...
He points towards the southeast. You can definitely see that you kind of move to the side and look to where one of the branches has obviously moved and sort of shifted itself. And you can see this sort of rocky cliffside that it's somewhat shallow, or it's not quite vertical, but it is very steep. Give me a perception check. Looking very closely, you see a very faint sort of black dot off in the distance, perched upon one of the cliffs, sort of backed up against the mountain face. You can't tell exactly what it is, but it perhaps might be a cave entrance.
I will bow to the tree and thank it.
Oops. There we go.
Before...
There's a heavy creaking as the tree slightly bends over in turn, before returning upright.
Was Francis on the edge of this area?
Somewhat. He was... perhaps a mile or so to the west.
Alright, I will find a good place to plant the pine cone.
We thank you. Do have a pleasant journey. And should you return, I look forward to speaking with you again.
And you as well.
And with that, the magical energies just sort of dissipate, as the other party has disconnected from the call, as it were.
I will return to the cart, relay the information I got. I did, of course, pick up the pine cone, by the way.
All right.
You got beamed in the head with a pine cone? You got snuck up on by a tree.
I said I relayed the information, not that.
That is fair.
All right.
And I will point in the direction, and I guess we'll head in that direction. I will
Alright.
keep an eye out for a suitable location for the pine cone. Obviously,
Okay.
not a cloud. Obviously, looking for somewhere that's not crowded.
Mm-hmm. Actually, traveling a few miles, it takes maybe 30 minutes. You arrive upon a spot which seemed to have contained a tree in the past. Seems to be a rotten stump off in a small clearing. The grass grows relatively well here, and looking off in the distance between the trees, you can see the sparkling water of a river somewhere in the forest.
I will go plant the. I'll plant it near the stump, but not right on it.
Okay.
And I will use Druid Craft to give it a little boost to growing.
All right. Digging down, you go maybe 6 or so inches before placing the pine cone in and covering the hole. You reach out with your druidic energy, and after about 5 or so minutes, you see the soil slightly shift. As you can see, a speck of green, at which you stop.
All right. And then we'll continue on.
All right. You eventually arrive at the base of the cliff. It's a very steep incline. There's various broken rock and very large boulders which have tumbled down from the mountainside. But up above, and you can see it from here, but there is a faint rock gravel trail leading upwards, very carefully snaking up towards that cliff. It does not seem to be large enough for the cart.
I will look for somewhere
You
safe.
might be able to maneuver it up if you are careful.
No, probably better to leave it.
Fair enough.
I'll find a safe location for it.
Okay.
Oh,
There's another one. There's actually a large boulder, very large, about the size of maybe a small house, that seems to have recently tumbled down. There's a convenient sort of a cavern which it's made as it's rolled down and left a giant trench behind it. You kind of maneuvered in there, and it seems to be very stable as grass has grown in this trench, as well as a heavy covering of various mosses and grasses on the boulder itself.
perfect. So Donkey will be fed.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, and thank you very much for joining us this evening. Sleep well.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Why? Why? Oh.
Oh,
No, it's 2 times already.
Actually, that was 3.
That is technically 3, yeah.
Oh.
Well, with the cart secured, I guess we'll head up the trail.
All right.
Unless there are objections.
Mm-mm.
All right. You start heading up. It's fairly late at night. Perhaps 1 or 2 a.m. And it takes a decent amount of time to actually climb up. It's fairly steep, and you find yourself to be panting heavily. All of you, Rok-Rok included, being pushed to the brink of your endurance by the incredible incline and rapidly decreasing atmosphere. But you eventually find yourself on the cliffside. It's a fairly small, actual cliff, but the rest of the mountain is relatively smooth and unclimbable for the most part, without equipment at least. There's various mosses and sparse rooted plants scraping by on the mountain, the mountainside, as well as this cliff itself. And there is, in fact, an entrance to a cave leading down into complete darkness. At the entrance, however, as you kind of step closer, you realize that there's something maybe like a torch. But as you step closer, you realize it's not a torch at all. It's an arm.
Ooh.
It's the lower half of an arm, only the forearm and the hand remaining. But what's alarming is that it is both somewhat chewed up and gnawed on, and the fact that it is a kobold arm with dim green scales.
That's of concern.
Like we found who we were looking for. Well, part of them anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. What do we want to do here?
I'm gonna pull my axe out.
That's a good idea.
I'll just have my bow ready. It's kind of in front of me. I guess not readied for an action, just kind of at the ready.
Alright. From inside the cave, you hear nothing. It's way too quiet. And I think we'll end there. As we are missing Cobalt, and I would like him to be around for this.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
joy.
fine. I'm
Plus,
really tired.
Ian is freaking dying from lack of sleep.
Who?
Eric's.
How was he dying?
So you went to sleep at like noon.
I've been up 28 hours.
Well, you too. Good grief.
You should go to bed.
Everybody.
Actually, I was gonna grab food and then start another stream, but
Oh dear lord, man.
gotta stream more.
Gotta make that living.
Fair enough. Alright. But yes, I will be ending the session right there. And next time you get to uncover another mystery.
Oh no.
Is it because of Rok-Rok's damn illiteracy again?
Probably not.
You can all Are
we gonna get pizza again?
I have a feeling it won't be the first time his illiteracy will get this group in trouble.
When he was trying to get us what is it? Is it adamantine or adamantium?
Adamantium.
When he was trying to use adamantium armor, did he accidentally say Illuminati armorer?
Oh no.
I think it was. I cannot confirm or deny the accusations you have placed upon this court.
Mm-hmm.
Though I think it was more adamantium. But then again, I think my armor would be made of meat, so which technically is holding me. So not too far off.
You remember when I thought the body was the pizza guy? Yeah, that was when we thought it was an actual murder and not a cave.
You remember when I immediately wanted to kill every single one of them?
Yeah, I remember that, and we tried, and we got punished.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, thank you all very much for joining me this evening. Well, us, rather.
Yes, yes.
We really appreciate the support you all show. I will be, like I just said, I'll be streaming again in about an hour. I'm gonna go grab some food real quick. Haven't decided what I'm gonna stream just yet. Probably something relaxing. I don't know. But either way, thank you for joining. I will be streaming, well, other than tonight, I will be streaming again tomorrow. It will be Subnautica at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Hope to see you all there for that.
Subnautica's fun.
Remember, you can support the channel by sharing with your friends. You can follow the Twitch channel, subscribe to it if you feel generous there. We also have a YouTube channel, which is ZGF Gaming. And you can subscribe to that. And, of course, if you can support the channel more directly, we've got the Patreon at patreon.com/ZGFgaming. I will see you all in about an hour.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Ho ho!